This is a trip we took to Antarctica in February 2016, and this was our first view of Antarctica. It was gorgeous. This is the ship we chose, the Seabourn Quest. It carries 450 passengers. We chose it because it was a medium-sized ship. You could only land 100 passengers at a time in Antarctica at a landing, and so most ships that go through the Drake Passage and go to Antarctica have only 100 passengers. So they're fairly small ships. We wanted to go in a larger ship that would do the Drake Passage much better. The passengers were divided into 5 groups, and we all did the landings by zodiac. So we all did it at different times. It worked out very well. We got 90 minutes each group at each landing, and that was plenty of time to explore what we wanted to explore. We signed up for the first kayak rides, and when you sign up, of course, you don't know what the weather's going to be that day. But we lucked out. It was just a beautiful sunny day. And here are all the other kayakers in front of us. We were always straggling behind, paddling like crazy to catch up, but it was gorgeous. It was a beautiful day and beautiful weather. We were lucky to see whales, and I was lucky to catch this picture of this whale's tail. We saw lots of icebergs. I don't know if you call these icebergs. They are ice, but they're very small, of course. This is my first landing and seeing penguins close up. The bones in front were whale bones. This is a penguin who's molting. We went at the end of the summer, their summer in February, so we saw a lot of penguins molting, getting ready to go into be able to swim in the water. Here's somebody else's kayak trip. This is a very comfortable penguin. We saw a lot of them lying down. And here's a penguin with a bird friend. I took lots of pictures of penguins. And here's a large group of penguins. They're called rookeries. They stood very still. They were never afraid of us. Penguins don't have any enemies land enemies. All their enemies are at sea. They have to be careful when they're in the water. But not on land, so they're very calm around us. We could get very close to them, which, we didn't, but they would come up and walk with it between us and walk around us. We had one young lady who sat on the ground and a penguin hopped into her lap. Here's my husband. You can see that the size of these penguins are about 2 to 2, not even 2.5 feet. They were pretty small penguins, but they just stood there. And here's one making his way to shore. Very calm, walking amongst us. And here's the beautiful scenery. This is a young penguin calling for his mother. You can see the different colors of the ice here. Lots of different colors that we saw. There's a little bit more different colors. Today we went out in zodiacs and got to see the ice floes close up and got to see our first pictures of seals. The crab-eater seals shown here spend most of their time on the ice floes, except when they're eating. They raise their pups on the ice floes. These are Weddell seals. They were nearby. These are actually the largest of the seals. They get to be over 1,000 pounds, but I think these are juveniles because they certainly don't look too large. And here are 2 fur seals cavorting in the water. You can see it's snowing on us now. Antarctica is actually a desert. It's the driest place on the planet. It's hard to imagine that because it certainly has a lot of ice, but it never rains. And even when it doesn't even snow that much. And when it snows, the snow never melts. It's so cold. And it is actually the coldest place on the planet. In the winter especially, it can get to minus 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Here are some more penguins. There are 4 kinds of penguins in Antarctica. There are Adelie, emperor, chinstrap, and gentoo penguins. Most of the penguins we saw were gentoo. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see any emperors. That would have been fantastic. Here we are, exploring in the ice. It actually looks colder than it is. I don't think it ever got below 30. We were dressed, believe it or not, we were never cold. They told us exactly what to bring, and in our 4 layers of clothes, we were well suited for the cold. Of course, it took us a while to get dressed with our 4 layers of expedition clothes, but no, we were fine. We were very comfortable. Here's what the ship looked like in the snow. Actually, it was quite a pretty sight. There were some stalwart people in the hot tub. Here's a group going out. This is what we this is what we all look like. Nobody lives in Antarctica. This is a research station. There's about 1,000 people that do research during the summer, but during the winter, most people go home. I don't think everybody does, but most do. It's pretty cold during the winter. And here we are, ready for our adventure on the Zodiac, going out to see the ice floes and the seals. Here's I could think a pair of crab-eater seals. The crab-eater part is a misnomer. They do not eat crab. They actually eat mostly krill and some fish. There's a very large population of krill, unfortunately, because the whale population is so low now. And the crab-eater seals, there are probably over 30 million crab-eater seals. They're the largest population of mammals in Antarctica. Actually, they're the largest population of mammals on Earth. The crab-eater seals spend their entire lives on the pack ice, where they rest and breed, and they molt. The babies molt. And they breed on the ice in the spring, and then the females give birth to a single pup, which grow very quickly. In 2 to 3 weeks, they grow to 200 pounds. And then the females mate again. Here is a crab-eater pup. You can see that he's been attacked. Most crab-eater pups do have marks like that on them. Unfortunately, they are the favorite food of leopard seals, and leopard seals consume 80% of crab-eater pups. Oh, here's another beautiful scene. Oh, I never get tired of looking at it. Here's another group of people just exploring. They're not going to get off their zodiacs, but they're just looking around. Here's another crab-eater seal. They're actually quite timid. If you approach one, they will move. They will get out of your way. Here's another small colony of penguins. There are no trees or bushes in Antarctica. It's way too cold. The only thing that grows here are moss and algae. Here we have a penguin mother looking for its chick, and a happy ending as they find each other. The hot tubbers. Well, we were thinking about doing it, but that's about as far as we got, was thinking about it. We just couldn't bring ourselves to get in the hot tub with snow around. We came across about a dozen killer whales, or orcas, in the water. They don't have a preferred diet. They'll eat anything they come across. Whales, seals, penguins, fish. Ah, more beautiful scenery. I never got tired of looking at it. We saw quite a few birds in Antarctica. This is an Arctic tern. They fly every year from the Arctic to the Antarctic and back to the Arctic again. I think they're amazing birds. I think that's the longest migratory flight path that there is for birds. And they can live up to 25 years. Here we are again, bundled up out on the deck, looking at the beautiful views. You couldn't go outside without bundling up. It was just too cold. This beautiful spot is called Paradise Cove. And here are some lucky kayakers. They got to kayak in the cove. This cove is often filled with icebergs and ships can't get in. And in fact, the day before, the captain tried to get in and we couldn't. But then overnight, the wind blew the ice away and we just lucked out with a beautiful cove and a beautiful day. This is a research station that is manned by the Argentine government, surrounded by a very large rookery of penguins. Penguins are actually birds. They can't fly, of course, in the air, but they do very well underwater. They can swim up to 25 miles per hour. Their bones are solid and very heavy, which allow them to stay submerged for fairly long periods of time. They can stay submerged up to 25 minutes and dive down to 1,000 feet, although most of the time they dive pretty shallow to find their food. Penguins can live 15 to 20 years if they survive infancy. Their main predator on land are seabirds. This is a South Polar skua. They eat mostly fish and krill, but they will attack small penguins, small chicks, and eggs. So the penguins watch out for them fairly carefully. And here are 3 of them having a conference of some sort. Like many birds, penguins preen. Here, as a group of them doing that makes them look headless. Here's one that still has feathers stuck in his beak, if you can see that. Most of the time, the penguins stood stock still, didn't move at all. And then this time, I don't know what it was, but they were racing back and forth between 2 hills. They just could not decide where they wanted to be. I'm not sure what caused it. It could be that birds were flying overhead and it excited them. Here they are back to normal. This guy really is alive. He just wanted to sleep like that. Here's an adult surrounded by chicks. You can see the difference in the size, but certainly in their feathers. They'll lose their feathers and become very sleek, which allow them to swim efficiently in the water. Some penguins can spend up to 75% of their time in the water. If you're thinking of going to Antarctica, I suggest you go. It was probably one of our best trips, and my only regret was we didn't get to stay longer.